I remember the morning of our anniversary like it was yesterday. June 14th, the smell of pancakes, the sound of Ella humming in the kitchen. 7 years of marriage and we were still crazy about each other, or so I thought. She handed me a small note before I left for work. It read, "Tonight, 7 p.m., dress nicely. I've got a surprise planned for us. Love you forever." I smiled. I was excited. But I had no idea that would be the last morning I'd ever see her. At 7 p.m., I arrived at the restaurant she mentioned. Table for two, candles flickering, a bouquet in my hand, but Ella never showed up. I called her, no answer. I texted, nothing. By 9 p.m., worry kicked in. I drove home. Her car wasn't in the driveway. Inside, everything was in place except for her. Her phone was on the bed. Her keys were still on the hook. No signs of struggle, just silence. I reported her missing by midnight. The police got involved. They questioned everyone, friends, coworkers, even me. I cooperated fully. There was no activity on her cards, no calls, no signs of travel. It was like she vanished into thin air. Her sister Megan came over the next morning, crying, shaking, saying Ella would never run away. She loved you too much. I believed her at first. Over the next few days, I started going through Ella's things, not just looking for clues, but trying to feel close to her. That's when I found a hidden journal at the back of her wardrobe. Pages torn, but the parts that remained shook me. She'd written about being followed, about strange calls at night. A name appeared more than once. LS, there was no last name, no context, just initials, but the final entry read, "If anything happens to me, it won't be an accident. LS knows." I gave it to the detective in charge, Officer Ramirez. She was skeptical at first, saying it could just be paranoia. But then the lab confirmed Ella's phone had been wiped remotely the night she disappeared, wiped clean. That wasn't paranoia. That was someone covering tracks. Megan kept visiting, often too much, always bringing food, always wanting to know if the police had found anything. One night she stayed late, and after a few drinks she said something that didn't sit right. Maybe Ella just wanted a way out. Maybe she was tired. That was Megan's usual tone. It was almost rehearsed and cold. I started doing some digging of my own. I went back to the restaurant, asked for the CCTV. They hesitated, said the footage had already been collected by someone with a police badge the next morning. But Ramirez told me the police never pulled it. Someone else had. I asked Ella's workplace for security logs. She'd requested access to a storage unit on the 12th, 2 days before she vanished. I drove there. Inside, I found documents, files, photos, copies of emails between someone named Leonard Sutton and a defense contractor. Ella had stumbled onto something serious. The emails hinted at illegal surveillance contracts and blackmail. Leonard Sutton, LS. He wasn't just some random man. He was a senior advisor in the cybersecurity firm Ella consulted for occasionally. I remembered him now, a charming man at one of their fundraisers, laughing with Megan. Pieces started to connect. Megan wasn't just having an affair with my best friend. That was a cover. She was involved with Sutton. I approached Ramirez with the new evidence. She launched a deeper probe unofficially. "Too many eyes," she said. And it turned out Sutton wasn't just being shady. He was part of a group siphoning data from high-profile clients, and Ella had proof. She'd been collecting it secretly after a client came to her with suspicions. Megan had found out. She warned Sutton. They both knew Ella would go public soon. That anniversary dinner? It was supposed to be the night she gave me everything. Instead, Sutton made the call. Megan lured her to the cabin, not just to talk, but to make sure she never spoke again. Ramirez worked behind the scenes to get Sutton's digital records. But before she could issue an arrest, she was reassigned. That's when I knew. This went higher than local law enforcement. I went quiet, played along with Megan. One night she left her phone unlocked. I copied what I could. GPS logs, messages from a burner number. One led to a remote property under Sutton's holding company. Ramirez had it raided unofficially. Inside, they found Ella's wedding ring and her blood. Megan cracked. Sutton tried to disappear, but the FBI was finally tipped off. Ramirez handed them everything. It became a federal case. They found Ella's body, buried deeper in the woods, far beyond the cabin's reach. Megan had lied about the grave's location the first time. She wanted to delay, to destroy more evidence. She's in prison now, so is Sutton. But none of it brings Ella back. I kept the note. Her handwriting still feels warm. Her voice still in my head. I sometimes wonder how deep the rabbit hole really went. Who else knew? Who else helped cover it up? All I know is Ella died trying to protect people who didn't even know they were being watched. She was brave, and she was silenced. But not forgotten. I spent the next months trying to pull myself together, but how do you heal from something like that? The betrayal, the lies, the brutal end to someone who just wanted to do what was right. Grief mixes with guilt. Guilt that I didn't see it coming, that I couldn't protect her. I began to receive letters. Anonymous, typed letters detailing more names, more companies. I handed them to Ramirez, now working in a federal capacity. She told me they were digging deeper, that Ella's murder had cracked open something bigger, something global. And then I got the phone call. A woman's voice, digitally distorted. She tried to warn them, don't stop. I still don't know who that was, but I keep going, I write, I gather. I've turned every wall in my home office into a map of connections, timelines, and red string. I've lost friends, been followed, threatened, but I won't stop. Because Ella was right, she was always right. This wasn't just about a missing woman, it was about what she discovered, about who paid to silence her, and about a system that let it happen. I tell this story not just because I lost my wife, but because someone else is out there like her. Maybe another whistleblower, maybe another Megan, maybe someone who will listen in time. So when you hear stories about people vanishing, journalists, analysts, consultants, don't dismiss them. There's always a trail. You just have to be brave enough to follow it. And one day, maybe the truth won't have to be buried with the people who speak it. I started a blog, low traffic at first, just a few hits a day. Then one post, an exposé on a senator connected to Sutton's data firm, went viral. Within 48 hours, my inbox was flooded. Some messages were from survivors, some from insiders, and some were warnings. Stop digging, or you'll end up like her. But others were filled with hope. My brother vanished. We always thought it was random. My friend was investigating the same contractor. I began piecing the puzzle together, not just Ella's story, but the story of dozens. Engineers, scientists, activists, all tied to the same web. I traveled, spoke at underground forums, met with people too afraid to go public. Each meeting was a risk. Each time I carried a copy of Ella's journal in my coat. Her words guided me. One day at a conference in Prague, a man approached me, said his name was Anton. He claimed he worked with Ella. He pulled out a flash drive, said Ella had sent him a backup just days before her disappearance. He never knew what happened to her until he read my blog. I took the flash drive home. It was encrypted, but Ramirez helped me crack it. Inside were files so damning, it's a miracle I'm alive. Names of senators, judges, executives, surveillance contracts, exploited vulnerabilities in hospital systems, financial records, even voting infrastructure. We published it all, and the world changed. Investigations launched. People resigned, some were arrested, others disappeared. Ella's story, once confined to a quiet kitchen and a missing persons report, had become a global reckoning. They tried to erase her. Instead, she became a symbol. I still wear my ring, not as a memory of what was lost, but as a promise to keep going, to never stop asking questions, to never forget. To love her loudly through truth. Even if the world wants silence,